Welcome back, you guys. This is the Art of Confidence event, how to build unstoppable confidence and increase your revenue. I'm Nicole Safely, the founder of I Am Fierce, and I am so excited to bring to you our guest this evening, Nicolia Kelly, the Fly Kelly, and she is going to light us up tonight with some amazing inspiration. You guys, she is a kingdom culturalist and a kingdom citizen. Her specialty really is, she just shared with me, she's a dream vault. She loves to dream with people. And so that's what's got me so excited. I can't wait to kind of dive into everything that she's done, but I know she's going to turn on some wheels for you. And Nicolia really is a resource, embodies and harnesses the power of community. And as a life coach, she is certified through ICF. Love that organization. And she really focuses on activating brown women to embody, express, and achieve from a place of rest. And we're going to key in on that, the place of rest, because Nicolia has just come off of sabbatical. And I want to dive in there. But let me tell you this, she has a belief in people that we're healed, we're restored, we're transformed, and we're evolved by our social ecosystems. Her life reflects this deep-rooted belief, and she's both a product of the communities that she's built and those to which she's an active participant. And that is a key thread through everything that Nicole does, teaches, works with people about. It's all about community. She activates, she cross-pollinates, and she creates momentum in every social space that she occupies. Nicolia, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. And we match. We didn't do this on purpose, guys. We're just awesome. Blonde hair,
Names in here.
print. Yeah, we're good. I am intrigued. I want to learn a little bit more from your place of rest. You've been on sabbatical for, was it a year? How long were you kind of taking?
It in fact was.
Okay. How many of you would love to take a year off and be able to be in a space of creation? Tell me a little bit about what you discovered in your sabbatical.
For sure. So I felt the need to go on sabbatical after actually talking to my womanhood mentor. So I had gone through a lot of life transition, divorce, after about 9 years, and a lot of things were going on. I was a community leader, and so I didn't know any other way but to push through. Like, as a Black woman, that was the only model that I saw, get it done. Like, that's all I saw. And I was just talking to my womanhood mentor about the transitions, and she was well aware, as having a mentor for accountability. So I'm just telling her about what's going on. And she shared that, that she, in her times of transition, took a sabbatical, and how it really helped her to align and to see differently and to process and be processed. And she knew that I was a leader of the Rested Daughters, which is a Facebook community that I have that teaches divine rest and divine activation through rest. And she was like, how are you activating them and you're not in a place of rest? And when I tell you, the light bulbs just went off, and I'm like, I never saw it that way. And so I knew then that was an invitation. I didn't feel challenged. I didn't feel offended. In that moment, I knew that was a door to do something different and to take a different path, and I did. And I'm so happy that I did, because that is actually when my life began to be activated versus me trying to animate everything. Because that was my thing, is get it done, plow through. I got to think of this. I got to think of that. I got to keep my community on Facebook engaged. I got to post. I got to schedule posts. It was always running, and striving. And so in this place of rest and really this sabbatical, I began to see gradually, not at first, gradually, as I began to get a cadence and a rhythm in my sabbatical, how the dots in my life began to naturally connect and things began to align. And I actually began building relationship from a rested place. And that has been so sustainable. And I can never go back to doing life the same way ever again.
No. So you said a couple things, rest, and I was always striving. And I can so relate to that, striving versus abiding. And I'm interested, this rested daughters. Tell me a little bit about what it really means to be rested.
Yeah, so the group banner that I have basically details what the group is about, and it's about accepting God's eternal opinion of us as fact. It's about accepting God's weight, divine weight, because it allows us to float versus carrying all of our burdens and carrying all of our weight and feeling somehow proud to do it. And it's really just kind of exchanging that weight, the way the Bible says, cast your cares. I will give you beauty for ashes. And so to worldly wisdom, that makes no sense. Like, how do you get beauty out of ashes? But as we know, in the kingdom, the currency is different. And so that is really what resting is. It is accepting God's opinion of us as fact. And it's really renouncing our feelings, renouncing our third dimensional, state, which is trying to tell us otherwise, which is trying to tell us you should be panicked, you should be worried, you should be trying to think of what you're going to do for the next 3 years, for the next 5 years, for the next 3 months, like always just running on a hamster wheel. And so the kingdom, as you know, is antithetical to everything in this dimension. And so that's what rest is. It's opting in to really being a kingdom citizen, meaning you don't have to justify anything, that you're justified. And God does that for you. And so that is what rest is. And that's how I teach it in my community. So
I love that. And rest doesn't mean not working. It's just working differently.
mhm.
This, you know,
Okay.
we're both entrepreneurs, and the word hustle, how many years did we like, that was your mantra? Oh, I'm hustling. Nobody wants to hustle. Like nobody wants to do that. And in my own ways, I've found that being at rest has actually amplified my results. Like I've been looking
Mhm.
for different ways. I'm just like you were, let me get it done. Let me get it done. I became a mom at 17. Like nobody was doing anything unless I did it. You know what I mean? And so that just became, and then I woke up and I'm like, I'm tired. I'm not
Yeah.
getting where I want to get, and I'm tired and I'm not focused on the things. So maybe we can have a dream session. No, I definitely want to
For
have a dream
sure. I would
session
love
with
that.
you. But tell me a little bit about that. You said you're the dream vault, and people come to you and share with you where they want to go, what they're dreaming of. What does it look like to take someone's dreams and then maybe talk about some of the communities that you've helped to fill or to create and grow
Yeah.
from those dreams?
Exactly. To fill, to build, to partner with. And so usually dreaming starts with a conversation. So many people don't talk about their ideas. And I mentioned that on my website. Like, how you talk about your ideas determine if you'll ever talk about your dreams.
Mm,
So it starts with the level of words, and it's not coincidental that the worlds were framed by the word of God. And so similarly, because we share the image and the likeness of God, if you can't even say the words or speak the words, nothing will be created. And so I really am honored to hold space for people in conversation and allowing them the safety and giving them the honor to talk, because a lot of times you can have been so dishonored in the wrong circles talking about ideas to where you like, oh, it's not safe here to dream.
mhm.
So subconsciously we kind of know where it's safe to dream, where it's not safe to dream. And then because we're either shut down, we never seek the adventure of, okay, let me find out where it is safe to dream. We just stop dreaming altogether. And so
Yeah.
as a dream vault and as a dream partner, it is my goal to make it safe for people to dream again. That your dreams be activated in rest, not in strife, not
Mm.
in worry, not in hustling. No, that they're activated in rest. So I love the dynamic of, dreaming and sleeping and things like that. Like, you have to be rested
Mhm.
enough, safe enough to dream. And so hopefully I give that, and I do that for those that I dream with.
Yeah. And we know, I mean, if we just believe it, right? And we have the faith of a mustard seed, anything is possible. But sometimes the world kind of shuts us down. And it's
For sure.
beautiful that you can create that space for people to go. And not only it doesn't feel like you're just a dream vault, you're a place where dreams come to be born. And I'm interested in learning more about some of the communities that you have worked with in that space, because I think, at least for my community, I'm looking like confidence. Where does confidence come from? Confidence comes from knowing, and sometimes we don't know when we get started, but it starts to unfold, as you talked about in your sabbatical, those dots being connected.
Mhm.
But talk to me a little bit about how you've worked with these communities and helped to bring those dreams to life. I think people would be inspired by that.
For sure. I think it's important that anytime you are purporting to do something, that you have fruit, that you have like receipts. That's something my womanhood mentor has definitely taught me. And I think it's important that those closest to you can be able to attest to that, not just them out there, but those that are closest to you. So my friends, I've always taken the things that they've said seriously. I've always made it safe for them to talk about what they want to do. I know that I have a friend who personally, she was trying to get into medical school, and we would always have these conversations. And so I was like, girl, just give me your resume and I'll just, I'll revamp it. I will, put the language that the active language that really gets people charged up. And so she tells me, like 3 weeks later, that she's landed a job at Rush University here in Chicago. And I'm like, OMG, that's amazing. But I think more so than a resume, I think it was her being empowered to believe that what she wanted to do was actually possible, and that the
Ooh.
people closest to her actually took her seriously. I think
Mhm.
that goes further, so much further than we know, for people to actually believe that they have a system and a community that believes in them. And so to take it on a community level, because that was the question, but I wanted to give you a personal example moving into community. My friend Shanice Offord, who's the president of Rebuild the Hood, tapped me to be the vice president after serving as secretary. And I personally know that I've watched her evolve in her own personal life. So it was a definite yes when she tapped me to be VP, because I've seen her journey as an entrepreneur, as a businesswoman. All of her dreams, she's managed to evolve. And so it was just a natural partnership in helping to grow the organization, and even bringing about our newest pillar of family. So rebuilding the hood doesn't necessarily just stop at real estate and trying to, buy the block per se, but it's about rebuilding families.
Mm.
Those are the occupants. We're occupying neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So that was something that, as we talked and we had natural conversation, it kind of flowed into that curiosity and that adventure. And that's something that I bring. I bring a natural, like, I'm curious. I really am interested in people and what they think, and their natural, kind of elements that they maybe suppress. And so as a coach, that's where I find myself kind of, prodding a bit, or even asking questions to see what's that about. Like, you mentioned this, and really kind of bringing that to the forefront, because sometimes you can be with yourself and you forget, oh, I do that. But so having that conversation and having that engagement kind of brings that to the forefront for them. So that's why I love just talking and asking questions, because it is very authentic to who I am. I'm very curious and adventurous, because I'm a student. I really am a student in life. Like, everything's a lesson to me. Like, I'm trying to learn everything about everything. And so,
I love it.
yeah.
I love it. And I love the fact that you are there to expand, people's dreams. I think for this community, I want to encourage you to, number one, to dream again, and to look for the support around you. This, our I Am Fierce community is designed to be exactly that. Bring your ideas. I may not know how to do it. Nicolia might not know how to do it, but we can put our resources together and really grow and incubate and connect and get something greater than any one of us even brought to the table originally. So I love that. You talked a little bit about another organization that I think might be interesting, and kind of what you do there with, is it
Yes.
Slay?
Yes, it is SLAY. It is Stop, Love, and Affirm You. And it's specifically targeted for teen moms who feels like that, they don't have access to educational resources. So we provide that encouragement, that mindset shift, to really address the mental aspects of, just achievement and of mothering and parenting. So it is founded by Lauren Jackson, who is a licensed clinical professional counselor herself. So she's in the mental health field, and she's bringing these resources to women who otherwise could feel cut off, or like, the world has kind of ended for them because they have a child, right? And so your story connects beautifully with that, because they have the ability to be empowered and to be nurtured from within, instead of always kind of, feeling like people are keeping metrics, or
Mhm.
keeping, auditing them, and so just having that support and having women support women means a lot. It means a lot for the possibility of an individual to feel supported and empowered. And
Mhm.
so the work that we do there, we've done with Breakthrough Ministries, which is like a homeless kind of, a homeless shelter for women. But before the pandemic, we would deliver dinners and we would visit. During the pandemic, it got a little murky, but we would find ways to either drop off dinners. But we want to really start reprogramming and doing more events in the community. But again, society has changed so much, and social expectations have been shifted a bit. So it's really about finding out what's relevant now in the
Mhm.
communities, and finding what is needed, versus just kind of imposing what we think. We want to really serve from an authentic place, from a place of need and where the need is. And so we're still assessing that. But yes, Stop Love and Affirm You, founded by Lauren Jackson, is another. And I'm like the community engagement manager there. So
I love it.
engaging.
Yeah, I love it. And is it for moms who have teenage, or is it for teenage moms?
It is for moms who've had, for teenage moms who've had children, but we really expanded that. But that was the initial
The
focal point
initial.
when Lauren started. But we really cater to all women and all moms from all walks of life. So that was just the initiated, kind of starting point where she started the
I love
organization.
it. And I mean, I'm thinking of what would I do? When I try to think about what do I want to do, be, or, become as I'm getting older. I kind of ask that question, like, what am I
We
going to
all
do when I
are.
grow up? Um, I just am inspired to think not everything has to be a for-profit business. Like, looking at where your passions lie, and you've connected with women who are definitely purpose driven and figured out ways to serve. And just a spoiler alert, being a nonprofit doesn't mean that you don't make money, right? Like, so you can turn your nonprofits into something that can certainly pay you. The goal isn't to make a profit, but just when you're thinking about like, what might I do? I love
Mhm.
that, because you can be fully in service and kind of kick the traditional bucket, down the road, and do something that really fulfills your heart. So I'm curious, as you were on sabbatical, kind of coming back to it, those dots that were connected, share
So
with
many
me the
dollars.
couple, yeah, the aha moments that you had, and where's that leading you today? Like, what would I take
For
away from your
sure.
sabbatical?
So I noticed that when I was on sabbatical and I really just got comfortable with resting, because that was hard in the beginning, like just being comfortable, allowing myself to float, for lack of a better analogy, just to
Hmm.
float on the water versus fight the water and sink. I began to realize that new invitations and new doors began opening, doors
Hmm.
that I never would have been able to find while on the hamster wheel, while on the treadmill and striving and hustling. I was invited to a room, faith figure conference led by Lola Tomorrow, who was another mentor of mine. But in that room, I began partnering with other women of faith, who does business God's way. That's the tagline: doing business God's way. And it has been utterly miraculous, because that led me to my current position with the Black Beauty Collective. I actually ran over to the store today to do some errands, which is why I still have on the shirt, but which wasn't intentional, but I guess it is. But
That's all right.
um, I was able to partner with the women at the Faith Figure Conference, and I was able to then lead them to the door of the Black Beauty Collective once I was had the opportunity to meet the founder. Now, I am not a hair makeup or any type of business or entrepreneur. But when I saw this Facebook ad, I felt so pulled to inquire again, that curiosity, that adventure inside of me. And I booked a meeting, although I was not an owner and not an owner of a hair, beauty, or skin brand. And I
Uh-huh.
naturally just began telling her, I am not an owner. I just wanted to be nosy to see what were you doing. And so literally connecting from that place of curiosity at rest, still on sabbatical, but just allowing myself to have a conversation. And so in that conversation, we connected and we aligned in values.
Mm.
And I just began thinking of all the women that I knew that were either founders and owners in the hair, skin, and beauty space. And I was like, I would love to be a bridge. But I wanted to make sure and vet her before, just kind of
Yeah.
opening the gate. And I told her that much. Like, I was it was a very honest and open conversation. And so we vetted each other. I saw her on my LinkedIn page as someone who viewed my page. So I knew what was happening. And so once she verified that I was who I said I was a community leader, I was a life coach, I had social proof, I had a community presence. That's when the conversation continued. And so she ended up offering me to come on as a brand partnership manager. And that's what I've been doing. And so I reached back to the Faith Figure Conference and I started letting them know about the opportunity that I had with this hair, skin, and beauty retailer selling exclusively Black owned brands in Hyde Park, Chicago. And so they were amazed. And I actually was able to bring in about 3 or 4 Faith Figure sisters from that conference, as well as other brands that are in store, just because I had the courage to talk and converse and dream and just present opportunities and possibilities. And that's really what dreaming is. It's about allowing yourself to see the possibilities, allowing yourself to see different vantage points and different perspectives with those that trust God's authority in you, like God's ability in you. And so that's where I am now. And it
Yeah.
totally happened while on sabbatical. Wasn't looking for it, wasn't
Hmm.
striving.
Well, maybe when I get off here, I'll tell my husband I need to take some time off. Honestly, though, we did something similar. I had about a year during COVID. Prior to COVID, we decided to do this, so it was a coincidence. But took 4 months off. We were in Jamaica for the first part, looking at starting a business, and I was off for the rest of the year. And so many connections happen, and just having the space, and it's we have to sometimes create that space because a lot of times it's not given, and it may not be the option for you to take off months at a time or a year from work. But I do believe that you can create rest out of your own space, given just like we do intermittent fasting, right? I'm not going to eat for 16 hours. What if you put your phone down for 16 hours and took the time for yourself? So finding the space to open up and be receptive, right, to the things that God's put out there for us. You sound like me. You're a connector. You're always looking for, how do I bring these things together? And some of that really happens more naturally than it does by force, for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Getting open, being connected, looking for opportunities. So many good nuggets in there. So this, the Beauty Collective, it is an entrepreneurial venture. So I'm trying to give people ideas like, just look at this. If you can think about it, you can create
Mhm.
something, right?
Mhm.
So that the whole idea was to amplify the brands of women of color, right?
The
And
Black Beauty Collective, yes,
yeah.
for sure. So it's like the Black Ulta or Black Sephora, but it exclusively features Black owned brands. But not only do we don't just sell and shelf, we also have a back end functionality that provides marketing support, visibility on social media. We give them their sales analytics. We help them get prepared for other opportunities in case they want to go to big box stores. So it's just not an exclusive, you're here, you have to stay with us. No, it's really a place of community where they're able to get the resources and support that they might not otherwise be able to get and still do what they need to do as far as selling. And so there is like a brand agency quality to the Black
Mhm.
Beauty Collective. And it has been utterly amazing. Before we even opened, we were featured in Forbes. The press has not stopped. We've been featured in ABC News. Leslie has been featured as well in the Sun Times, Chicago. So it is a novel concept. I mean, Black owned beauty supply stores, I don't think is novel, but
Yeah.
to feature exclusively Black owned brands, skin, hair, and beauty. So the model is definitely one that will be duplicated in other areas, but Hyde Park, Chicago is just the startup where the flagship store is.
Yeah, I love that. And what I just see in you is like this fabric that other people kind of come and like you just help to give life to things. Who would take their time, like just to do this because I want to find out more information who I could connect. I love it. I love it. I'm inspired. I'm like, oh, so when we come back and we think of confidence, I see you as a very confident woman. Um, have you always been that way? Is there something you've done to gain the
That
confidence?
is a
Like,
nuanced question, and I will give you
yeah.
an answer as best. I feel like I've always been confident, but I didn't allow myself to enjoy that confidence. I always gave it to others. So I found myself in situations where I was being leached, and I considered that love and loyalty. And
Mm,
so when I went through my divorce, which was a bit hard for me, I had to learn some hard lessons, and I had to stop giving my power away and giving my confidence away and giving those things to others where they were building their houses or they could see outcomes, but they were not interested in my process. They were not
mm,
interested in me. They were not interested in what God made me to be because I wasn't interested. I
mm,
was interested in giving my power away to get a level of validation and approval. And so
mm,
for me, accepting God's opinion of me as fact really allowed my confidence to be sustained and to amplify me first so that I'm then able to help others birth and dream, because I am a gift to myself first, or else the gift doesn't work for anyone else, if that makes sense. And so I probably didn't answer your question. So I feel like I've always had confidence, but I didn't know how to trust the authority of that
mm,
because I was
mhm.
always giving it away. That makes
Yeah.
sense. So
Oh, it does make sense. You said it so beautifully. And sometimes, the type of person that you're a giver. I mean, you're breathing life into things with people, and you can't just give that all away. You can give, but you can't give it away. So I love that when you recognize that you were being sucked out and like, no,
and
bring,
allowing it
yeah,
and
we're
loving
gonna
it,
do that.
calling it love, calling it friendship, calling it loyalty, other things.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So many women. I mean, I think we're all at some level in that space just because
Mhm.
that's kind of who we are, but we need to have and reserve for ourselves so we can actually continue to give. All right. So my next question, number one, I want a dream session. I mean,
Done.
all right. I need a dream
Done.
session. How do people connect with you, Nicolia? And if they wanted to work with you as a coach or get into your space with just, I can imagine calling and saying, okay, how did you do this? How did you connect with people? So
Yeah.
what can I tell our folks to do to reach out to
First
you?
of all, I am so sorry. My cats are acting crazy. They're probably meowing
I
all in the
can't even
background.
hear them.
Okay.
That's all right.
So yes, I would direct them to visit my website and just take a look around. NK Consulting Resource Group .services. That is where the website is, and my email is hello@nkconsultinggroup .services. So in the tagline or in the subject line, just put "Let's talk," and we can get into a 15-minute dream session and just have a conversation. I am genuinely interested, and it just brings me joy to hear people's dream worlds, and to even make them feel safe enough to dream. So I would love to have a dream session with you, Nicole. That would be an honor to dream with you. It's an honor to dream with anyone who feels safe enough to dream with you, to be
Yeah.
honest. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I have a lot more questions, like the whole nonprofit thing and what you do. That is pretty incredible. And I don't know, just the energy that comes out of that. So thank you for being you and
sure.
investing in yourself by taking rest. And
Ooh,
I can't wait to see what comes out of this now as you move forward. How amazing. Thank you for being connected with me too, and our
Thank you so
audience.
much for reaching out, Nicole.
You guys, okay, if you haven't gotten it now, you got to go and connect for a dream session. That's my challenge to you. Go right now, sign up. I'll put the link in the notes with the recording, and you can go out and get 15 minutes. Who gives you their time? So thank you for doing that. And I think you are definitely the type of person that will open up possibilities for people. Step into that space. Nicolia is a life coach, so she can guide you through this journey. But what I know about her space is that it's all about pulling out what's inside you already. So she just gets to be that conduit, ask questions, and create a safe space for you. So thank you so much. Go sign up for a 15-minute session. Nicolia, I invite you to pop into our I Am Fierce community at any point.
Yes.
Obviously, you got the memo that the headband, the
I'm
jacket,
coming.
that's kind of the
I'm
attire.
coming.
But please do come in and get familiar with our people. And again, I thank you for your vision and being here. It was great.
Thank you.
All right.